us.
I know.
Yay!
And I think that
We got wet. Our muffler
Oh.
got wet. My boy got
Oh.
wet coming out of the building.
So-
I mean, just
It
ran
was
The
no
just-
bus driver
umbrella.
called us and said, Ren is leaving right now and they're getting soaked. If you can hang on tight, just wait until this
We
cloud
got
passes.
soaked. We got
by
soaked.
the time we got there, it was
Okay.
fine. So our competition was yesterday. Do we feel like we were prepared? I feel like we were.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
I think all of the sight singing things that we used leading up and even just meeting, I know that we're like talking about the different things that we used, but I think meeting and leading up to it, it really did help a ton.
And especially,
Did you-
I try to compare where we have been the past 3 years with where we were before, like pre-COVID, post-COVID.
Mhm.
Pre-COVID, some of us didn't go to CPA, some of us went and didn't do well,
Right,
and we all were using different stuff.
right.
And so when we started using the drive that we made, the daily sight reading we do is the Tim Weinbrenner, and he's sometimes one of the guys that makes these that we do at competition.
UILs.
So those
Right?
books, those exercises lead up to this.
That's right.
So I think that's been the biggest help, and we as all three schools have gotten superior on sight reading 3 times in a row.
That's right.
So that means that the collaborative drive that we're using, it's working.
Listen.
Um,
Mhm.
let's look at our sheets from yesterday. I got a 2 on one of the things.
On which one? What
On
are you looking at?
musicality, which I knew
Is
that
this
that's our
sight singing?
yes. I knew that that was our weakness because we get so into note, pitch, rhythm. So and y'all both got all 1. So what do y'all do to make things more musical? My brain is, I'm such a type A person. I get in there and I'm trying to fix
Notes.
the intervals, pitches, rhythms, and sometimes I do. In the moment, I thought I need to tell them to sing a little quieter, and I need to tell them to sing it more legato. But your brain's going 1,000 different ways. So do y'all do certain things in your daily practice when you're doing these UILs to focus on
We
that?
work on phrasing.
Yeah.
I tell them phrase that right there, and let's put a retardando at the end of these pieces.
And that is my downfall because I'm one of those people. If it's not written,
Right.
I'm just mowing it down. And he said try to add dynamics, phrasing and stuff, and it's just not there. And I'm just not thinking about it.
He
Yeah.
put thanks for phrasing and retard at the end.
Yeah.
See, I don't even think to do that. And
He said the same thing on mine. He said, thanks for phrasing. That was a nice crescendo in phrasing that rode into the pitch and then decrescendo a bit more when the pitch is decent. Don't oversing it. And then this one he said, maybe try a different dynamic because I did try a dynamic.
oh, I forgot you had 2 groups. I'm like, wait, how did you
You
get
know,
to? How did you get to
I gave
this?
you two.
Sorry. Maybe try a different dynamic when the A section returns. It's not marked, but you were talented enough to do it. And then he talked about, he wrote over to this side, I said the word shape and phrase, why don't we connect, since this is an Anacrusis song, why don't we connect 4 measures and then come in stronger on the 4th beat of the next phrase so that it pulls that Anacrusis back in, and then when that one section doesn't start on the Anacrusis, it starts right on the 1. Let's make that one a little bit different dynamically, and that's what I said in the moment.
See, and I need to do better about that. I need to save time for, and honestly, the first run through the pitches and rhythms were pretty good.
Yeah.
I had one issue in the tenor. I think it was at the end of the boys' duet with an interval,
Yeah.
and then sopranos, the fa re that kept happening over and over
Yes.
again. We had to
Yes.
clean that up. So that's what we worked on after we ran it front to back, and then I just kept running the duets because I just always get so nervous.
So you didn't break them into any groups?
I did not.
You kept them on the
I
riser?
kept them on the
whole time?
risers the whole
I
time.
did both. I did sectionals.
Me
I turned my clock on, and I did sectionals for 2 minutes and 15 seconds. And then I pulled them together. We sang through the whole thing once. We went back into the duet section, and then it was time.
It was time.
We did not sing through it until the performance. So he said, consider bringing them together somewhere in there, like you all had told me that you
How
can.
did you get them to do the retard at the end if you had not done it as a group until the end? They just watched you?
Yes.
See, my kids are so, they're trying to get every note. That I tell them to hold it up so they can kind of see me, peripherally, or at least over top the music. But they're so focusing so hard.
But I think it's because we do it in class time. They know Miss Smith's going to put a retard on there.
I think I just need to have
it in school.
a set, thing that I do. We normally put a retard at the end. We normally do this, that, and another. I think I need to do that. more.
He said, "Bravo tenors, my 4 little tenors."
Oh, that's cute.
Bless their hearts.
That's funny.
My weakest group of sight readers is altos, and I thought their part was the easiest.
Mm-hmm.
I started helping them. I'm like, oh, this is a cakewalk. So then I went and shifted because I thought the soprano was a little bit trickier in a couple spots.
Talk about going back to like those things that we were prepping leading up to that. How many of those ones that we did for those UILs leading up had that do to low fa jump for those basses? And it was there.
I know.
I was so excited.
I was excited.
Especially those
about that.
last ones we found.
Yeah.
No, this year, I owned the only ones that I did that I had done before were Just Like a Man, El Paso, and the roving one. All of these other ones were new, and I liked it because they were more current. Like this was 2023, 2022, 2020. I will say I thought it was a little harder
Yeah.
than the other
I did
2
too.
years, so I can't wait to get that to add to the pile because I told them they're probably going to bring back the duets, and it did.
It did.
So this is the first year that y'all have gone and had the duet.
Yes.
That's right.
But we had practiced some. There were some of these that had a duet, and some of the old, most of the old ones, they all have it.
Because I remember you saying.
I think the old ones were just harder. Like some of those, like if it's 20, like 14 and earlier,
20.
it's
Really?
it's hard. Some of those are harder. So I'm glad I went and looked at the UIL, like the breakdown of stuff, because I started panicking because I had reached out to another teacher that had gone in another area before. She was like, "It's way harder." It was Woodmont, and she got good. And I was started to panic. She got
Inside
good
singing?
inside singing. So then I panicked because, and then y'all, this is bad, but I knew that they had changed the rubric, but I didn't look at it close enough, and I didn't realize she got superior on her songs,
She
and her
told me
sight
that.
reading was good, so it brought her overall down to an excellent.
She told me that.
Because in the past, your sight reading was just for that little distinction, you know. Like if you got superior on your songs and you blew up sight reading, you would still get superior just plain.
But isn't she on a different level than we are?
I was wondering if 4A.
She's in a 5A.
Oof. Maybe that's why. But she was 5A last year, but she got superior distinction last year. So I'm wondering if ours was a little harder. I wonder how theirs was.
So I think looking forward to, I want to push more into 4A and just practice more 4A pieces.
So I need.
with some
Me too.
accidentals.
I just need to know how to navigate that.
I
I've
need
never
to-
done
I
it.
need some help
We need-
navigating
I think that if we picked a couple that are doable, and we talked about it beforehand, how to do it on the fly, it's getting their ear. We do it all the time, solfege in our pieces, but on the fly, doing the fee or the C or the
That's right. Yeah.
that stuff, and also quickly because my kids they struggle most with the accidentals, and we've talked about that. And so in the moment when they see the complementary natural, to not change it, it's just regular,
Right.
and to do all those in the moment. If they change us to 4A, because I did look that you could, to not get the distinction, you could have gone down a level, but it's the same. We've got 3A, 2A, 1A, so we would have had the same thing.
Can I tell you what happened with my treble?
What?
They pushed me higher so that I could get distinction. That was a non-varsity. I was not supposed to be able to get distinction for that. But I walked into the room and Phil was like, "I think you could push higher," because I was only supposed to get SA. And he was like, "I just heard your other group. I think you can push higher and do SSA." And I said, "Let's do it." So he handed me.
I would have been like,
I was like,
I would have said, no.
No, I was like, "Let's do it." I feel great about that. That's what they've been practicing is SSA. So he pushed SSA, and that's
So
how
what
I
was that
able.
piece? Was it the same in a different voicing?
And it was in the key of D. My girls panicked because they've never done a sight singing example in the key of D. All of our examples are in F and G.
F, G, occasional C, and then I think one of them was like E flat or something.
So they saw D, and the only issues that they had is that they weren't used to seeing do down that far, so they were singing me as if me was do. And so they were missing an interval between fa and la because they were trying to sing it like it was something else.
Yeah.
Like Rita fa or something. I don't really know, but they were missing that. But they did fine, and he even said, like the prep was helpful, and then he said that fa to la and soprano 1 measure 9 was slightly inaccurate, and he heard us practicing it because we got over to measure 9 and they botched it, and I was like, "What just happened?" I stopped, and I was like, "What just happened?" And so we went back, and I actually got a little ugly in the moment. And then the second time we did it, they were completely fine.
Which part watched it? Was it
Soprano 1.
Soprano 1?
Mm-hmm.
We are better together or work smarter, not harder, because before our collaborative team, we were more individualized and we did not have the opportunity to see each other or work together. Now we use the same materials and we set the same goals, and we have those goals, collaborative goals together, as in our CPA that we just finished. We all use the same sightseeing material to hopefully get better, and we were successful by doing that.
I think too, we had talked about just next year, for the whole year, coming up with a roadmap of what does first semester look like with sight reading, because we're going to need to do the SATB,
Right.
the Weinbrenner, the yellow, the end of the yellow, and the beginning of the purple, as well as the sight reading factory for Allstate. And when are we, if we're going to try to start doing some of the
Right.
4A stuff, when are we going to start switching? Are y'all going to continue to use sight reading factory second semester, or is that going to be like a first semester in prep for Allstate?
I haven't used that.
I haven't either.
I think I'll continue to use it at the
Continue.
beginning of second semester, because we're getting new kids in, at least to establish through
So at the
January.
beginning of every semester, you use that.
Yes.
And probably a little bit more heavy
He-
from beginning to
probably longer.
November.
Yes. Yes.
And then maybe to
Through
start that
October.
second semester,
Mm-hmm.
just so they're used to it.
That's
Because
right.
I've been thinking with this 4x4, certain kids keep missing certain things because the nature of our class is year long, and so a lot of my kids that I just get second semester, they haven't done those individual lines that we focus on for Allstate.
Have you traveled back to individual lines now? Are you still in?
No.
You're still in part singing.
I'm still in part singing. And do y'all continue to sight read after competition?
I'm back to single lines
Just
just to get them ready for some all-state things.
that's not a bad idea.
That is a great idea.
Because right now I'm like, y'all, we're done with competition. The next box to check is the concert, and we've got some pieces we need to solidify.
Yeah.
But I think preparing for Allstate. Do y'all teach the Allstate song at the end of this year for next year?
Try.
Yes.
Try. Yeah.
Yeah.
When do you start doing that?
I won't do that till after May 2nd, after our concert.
Okay.
If I have many kids, we will do that.
Yeah, it's
Well, the seniors
The
drop the
juniors,
9th, but
yeah.
we go all the way till the 20th.
that's probably a good idea. Just even if it's like sectionals to prepare so that they're familiar with it.
Right.
Um.
I'm going to put this on our goals
Okay.
just for next year.
So as far as that's sight reading, as far as stuff in the songs, how did we fare on the songs?
How did Dr. Kenzie?
She's my
She's my harder one,
Here, I'll put-
always.
let me
She
go.
was my hardest too.
She's always my
I'll put
hardest.
trouble away for it. No, we did not. This was the first time that we've had an opportunity to talk about that particular word. I honestly feel like it's just where I fell in the day. I was the very first varsity group of the day, and they just came off the backs of two 2A non-varsity
Non-varsity.
groups. So I really do feel like my scores were really good, but going back and listening to it, they probably weren't as harsh as they should have been.
Well, then going back for me, I listened back and I usually try to be
How did you
real.
listen? Megan had somebody record. Did you have
Oh,
somebody
Matthew
record?
came and recorded it.
I didn't know I could do
And hey,
that.
well, no, it
Did y'all
started.
is that
Well,
legal?
I
Last
missed it
year-
last year.
Last year, I had a parent, and I had told them no phones, but she snuck, and I saw that just
so we're
John
doing this
did it.
illegal.
That there's, but they didn't. Matthew brought in a
No.
tripod,
Oh,
and they
yeah,
didn't say anything.
I had a tripod.
Really?
So
Okay.
he sat at the very back corner, and it was great. It was great because they give you that audio, but the video, I wanted the video. So I listened back, and the things that she got us, that both of the girls, we got straight ones for the Zion's Walls. My kids were like, so we scored higher on Zion's Walls than Awakening. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't make sense. Awakening was harder, but I got cut for singing the loud sections too loud, but they're marked double and triple F.
It's kind
You
of
know?
a matter of opinion.
Yeah, and so
It really is.
I told them, I was like, I don't
had
think
like the whole
it was.
push harsh thing comment, and that was my two.
Yeah, So the things, and I had one soprano that came in early in one measure of the Awakening, and she literally dropped us for a 2 for that one thing, that one entrance. It was literally just a half, a little half second early. It doesn't detract, but I mean, I understand everything they said. I thought was fair. I feel like I do like this judging sheet better, and I like this rubric. It was very easy, and then this. Now that we've done it, this makes sense to me.
One year, I don't think we had a rubric. I mean, I don't think we had.
It was that
That.
year. No,
Did we?
this was new. This
Right.
whole concept was new. We had that. It was just the stuff down the side. It was plus and minuses, and then they didn't even fill it out.
Yes.
So I think
yes.
that this was better. But I got ones from 2 judges and then one of overall 1 minus from Catherine Kinsey. And it was just for The Awakening, which I listening back, I think The Awakening's stronger than Zion's Walls. My first Sopranos, their pitch, one of their high pitches was a little squirrely. So it wasn't perfect.
Right.
But I
No,
don't
mine
think-
was definitely not perfect.
I like the lady from USC.
Yeah.
She
I
was
liked her too.
very thorough.
She
I
was
thought.
very, look, I mean, she
Yes.
filled
Yes.
out
He did-
everything.
Did your middle judge do
No.
anything? I got nothing except the
He
negative.
was working the Keurig. He couldn't get the Keurig to work during hours.
Ooh.
And my kids we were watching, no, not during our performance, but while we were out listening, he was trying to make him some coffee. And my kids were about to start laughing because he couldn't get the Keurig machine to work. But
In the middle of stuff?
No. This
Just-
is while we were waiting.
Okay.
We were waiting. But anyway, no, he was kind of vague.
He was probably the one that gave us the best score.
That's my only 2.
Really, was him?
Yeah. He just said he didn't want me to push out of it, which is very fair. This is absolutely. I'm surprised we didn't get more on El Lambo, but it said don't push out of focus. Settle for less volume
that's saying
and
that
evaluate your tone. Don't allow
Oh,
it
he
to
said that
spread.
for
That's
me.
the same.
He
Don't
said, be
lose
careful.
focus.
Be careful in louder sections that you don't push.
That's literally
he was into that one.
But
Yeah.
he gave me a 2. He gave y'all 1 minus. So
That's true.
You were the first one, Megan.
well,
That's true.
then he was like, "Oh,
Oh,
maybe I was a little
the
harsh
harsh on
on
Paris,
her."
No, I think that it went super
Kinsey
well.
gave us a 2+.
Same.
Wide intervals for, I don't know, S's?
For Sopranos,
Sopranos are often flat, ascending and
Yeah.
descending.
I had my Sopranos on my treble. They went out of pitch on the very last 4 measures, y'all. It went sharp just a tad, and she did make
She
a
did.
note. She said, "Careful on the repeated A's because they're all in unison."
But I
And it
will
was a
say,
1
I
minus.
thought the judging was fair. And I feel like listening back, I understood most of the stuff. The only thing that I disagreed with is that we sang the big sections too loud. They're literally written. That piece has double and triple P's as well as double and
same.
triple F's.
Same. Mine was somebody said something about my sforzando at the end, and I was like, I mean, it's written, so I don't know what else you want to say.
Honestly, it was finding the time to meet together. But our district, this is now the 2nd year, we have implemented the talk time on Wednesdays. High school gets out at 2:25. So teachers have from 2:25 until 3:45 to meet with their collaborative team. So we have that built-in time once a week, and we utilize it. Now we are singletons at our home school, so we have to do Google Meet. So we meet on Google Meet every single week, and we discuss what we need to work through. The other thing that was tricky, and we actually had some PD at the district level last year, is that our PLC looks different than other core content collaborative teams. Sometimes we have to discuss logistics of a field trip and how we're preparing students in our classroom for that field trip and the different techniques and strategies we're using. And our assessments are less test and written things, although we do have those. Ours are more performance based, and what that looks like in different rubrics and how we are preparing our kids for the different events that we go to. I know that you had said that next year you're losing a lot of your seniors. There are songs out there
We'll have to
that
tweak
we
it
can
down.
that are just straight SATB
We've got
that
to
are
tweak it
that
down.
are really good.
Mhm.
Do you have a section that's going to be strong, like your soprano's going to be strong?
They'll be okay.
Because something like "Oh Love" that doesn't have a lot of splits,
Right.
that's heavy solfege, it actually might be
We'll have to bring
Beautiful.
we could not
my
do
very
festival
own.
songs.
My very own's
It's
beautiful.
it's
Is
literally
that
the
your
first
first
40
I listened to
measures.
the first one. That was a beautiful piece.
Yeah.
That's the only one I've listened to.
And it's
It was
straight
really
four-
pretty.
I didn't have access. I requested it though.
I sent you another one with access.
Okay, perfect. I haven't looked.
That one was really pretty.
Yeah.
I don't know if we could do that or not with these babies. I mean, there are a lot of
It's a lot of
It's
very unison.
and it's also
Yeah.
the awakening too. Sometimes it's like 6 parts, but the first sopranos and the first tenors are together, and then the second soprano. It's like I feel like some of those chord parts, they're sharing stuff with other people.
we will have to.
Yeah, we
search
can
and
find a song
Okay.
to do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that moving forward, continue to do what we're doing, tweak it, because if they do change us to 4A, at least we've practiced some of it.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know if they change us to 4A. I still think that they may change like the actual things. That one was hard, but that was still a 3A piece. So what if next year's 3A
It's more difficult.
is more difficult?
I think that they won't, just based on the website, I don't think that they would add the sharps and the naturals and the flats and stuff to 3A because it had levels. I went on, because I panicked when I talked with my, I went on and looked at, here's all the things that they can throw you. Here's all the intervals they can throw you. Here's all the keys they can give you. Here's all the rhythm patterns. But when it goes to 4 and 5A, it does.
So something Maryland is doing is that they're moving towards the size of the choir versus the size of the school.
I think that. I like that.
That's a good idea.
But the only thing is, if you get, y'all combined those kids, and how many did you take?
I guess about 45.
Mine was 62.
See, that would have actually
Yeah.
screwed you because it was a big group.
Right.
Mine here recently it's supposed to be 45, but with schedule conflicts, it's usually
Did
30
you take
to 35.
everybody in that class?
We took everybody,
Did
and
you take everybody?
they all came.
I had one with the flu, but everybody else
No,
did.
they auditioned for me,
I'm
and
so
if they
glad.
could sing it, if they could sight read for me.
That was
There were
nice.
some not ready.
Well, I think
Good for you.
I think
When
that's
did you
because
tell
of your
them?
schedule.
Last week.
I think that's a
We
good.
worked up until last week trying. And I said, some just not ready.
Did you post a list? How did you do that? Or
I
did you just tell them?
gave the ones that were going a permission slip. So if you got a permission slip, then you can go on the trip.
Good for you.
Yeah, I think that's if you're gonna have some of your best kids split between.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Did you taught one of your songs first semester? Like all things
yes,
new.
we did that at Swoop. Yes.
And I think if I ever was scheduling that would be, I would still use that flex time to get some kids. Our flex and win is just different here, because you want to take your best and your brightest. So it's going to be year to year.
Exactly.
The logistics of CPA for us because of scheduling.
Right.
So I guess we will continue to see how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
I really think is that everything from CPA?
I think so.